This is Steve Jungle, number 7 for the New York Arrows, who came into this season averaging almost 3 goals a game. In this season, he's got over 3 goals a game. Live from the Civic Center in Pittsburgh, Sports Channel presents New York Arrows Soccer. Tonight, the Arrows take on the Pittsburgh Spirit. A participating advertiser for tonight's game is Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Well, hi everyone, Bob Goldschall and Nick Zlatar coming to you from the Civic Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And Nick, I guess we expected the Arrows to be in first place based on what they've done over the past 3 years. A surprise, though, that the Pittsburgh Spirit have done so well. If they win tonight's game, they could tie the Arrows for first place, early though it might be.
Well, it's an important game for the Spirit, especially the first go around the league. Everyone wants to test themselves against the Arrows. And, you know, surprisingly, Bob, the Denver team beat both of these teams. And Philadelphia, who is struggling now with a 1-6 record, is also defeated Pittsburgh. So the kind of underdogs have been the slate killers here, and we're going to see a good one tonight, I feel.
Well, you know, we've got the top 2 scorers in the MISL. Steve Jungle, we mentioned just a moment ago. Stan Terlecki behind him in second place in the MISL in scoring. Jungle's just outstanding, though. Nick, when you talk about him, the ease, I put quotes around that term ease, because it comes easy to him, but his feats are just amazing, and he's surrounded by some outstanding talent. In a sense, Stan Terlecki fills that same kind of role for Pittsburgh.
Well, Stan is the key. You know, when he came in this summer, they were talking about him as being the new Jungle or better than Jungle. I had the fortune of seeing this team about a week ago, and he isn't a Jungle, but he is a great, great player. An international star from Poland. We'll talk about him as the game continues. But he is the key man. He's got to score. He's got to be the dangerous threat. But as we saw in previously in Phoenix, there's a lot of people that can score for New York in addition to Steve Jungle.
Okay, Nick, we'll be back with the start of today's game right after this message.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours a happy and safe holiday season.
And the players are being introduced right now here at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. And I might add that the spotlight on as the players are being introduced. There's nothing wrong with your sets right now or with our Sports Channel transmission. They have turned off the lights here in the arena, and it takes, we are told, a few minutes for the bulbs to heat up again and provide full candle power. So just bear with us, folks, as the players line up and set to go in just a few moments here in Pittsburgh, and let's have our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Norma Malazzo.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the rampart
All right, and as we wait for the lights to come on, oh, now they're coming on, and we should have soccer in just a moment or two. Nick, this has been a most successful road trip for the Arrows. This is the final game of a 6-game road trip, and I just wonder if some of the players are going to remember how to get home once they land in New York City tomorrow. It's been quite a while.
It certainly has, and you know, the old adage of there's no place like home, especially for the holidays, and the Arrows will be coming there this Sunday. But there's the key. There's one of the key players, Stan Terlecki, number 13, Friday, but I don't think it makes too much difference. We'll talk about him. There's a number of things going on, certainly the situation in Poland.
Yeah, it's Stan, a native of Poland, right?
And but he is the key player. He's on their first line. It's very important. There's a tension in this game, really, that didn't exist before, because this team took a year off last year, did not participate, regrouped their forces, new ownership, new management came in, and basically a whole new team. They are looking here to establish themselves as the champion in the city of champions. And you have to beat New York before you can even have those claiming rights.
Well, nobody except the Arrows has won the MISL championship 3 years in a row. They are shooting for season number 4, and they are playing outstanding soccer with a 6-1 record. As we mentioned, on this road trip, the only game they lost was by 1 goal to Denver, and they would like nothing more than to conclude their road trip tonight with a victory over the challenging Spirit. And as you can see, Pittsburgh, as all the pro teams in this area, wearing gold and black. Of course, the Steelers, the Pirates, the Penguins, and the Spirit all do that. That is the goalie for the Arrows tonight, Zoltan Toth, starting at goal, who at 6'3" likes to consider himself the tallest player on the team. He makes no bones about it, Nick. He's happy being the giant out there.
Well, certainly in the indoor game, the size of a goalkeeper is not an issue, but there's the other counterpart.
Gary Allison.
Gary Allison,
the 6-foot goalie. He's got a 5.98 goals against this season. And Gary Allison, who resides in Phoenix, Arizona, was an all-star in this league in the 79-80 season. And he's getting set. And just to bring you up to date for the temporary delay, the lights, while they are on, are not at full strength for the moment. And as they get back to full strength, the players just loosening up.
The gentleman that we just saw now walking along with Gary is Mickey Cave, assistant coach to John Kowalski, and also a player. A very, very important part on this team. He's the mold. He keeps the team together. He can score goals. Especially look for him to be very, very dangerous on man advantage situations.
Nick, one of the other reasons for this temporary delay has to do with the goalkeepers. They are both wearing very similar colors. That is Toth, as you can see, with Columbia blue and navy blue pants, and you see Allison with just about the same colors, although the patterns are just a bit different. I believe one of the assistants has gone into the Spirit locker room to get a bit of a change of garb for Mr. Allison. And while he does that, we can talk about these starting teams for Pittsburgh. They are going to go with number 10, Mickey Cave. Number 13, that outstanding scorer we told you about, Stan Terlecki, who incidentally was very questionable for tonight's game. He's got Achilles tendon problem. He's got a left elbow infection. And to round out the injury sheet, Nick, he's also got a sprained wrist. But Stan is going tonight. He is number 13.
Well, he can't score with his wrist nor with his elbow, so...
That's right. 2 out of 3 don't enter into it, do they?
That's not bad.
And they are starting number 7, Paul Toomey, the native of Connecticut. And there is one of the great athletes, not just the star of this league, one of the great athletes in the world right there, Steve Jungle, who has already gotten 37 points in 7 games. And I don't know what more you can say about him. Just a threat, Nick, from virtually anywhere over that midfield line.
Well, I think more and more people are coming to the game, especially young players who emulate professionals. They're coming to the game and just focusing on Steve throughout the entire game, watching his movement off the ball as well as his skills on the ball, and trying to be as great as he is.
You know, you tend to compare people in one sport to other athletes in the same sport, but, and I mentioned this early in the season, Nick, every time I look at jungle, I think of Ili Nastasi. They have that same fluid motion, and as we talk about motion, we are going to change Mr. Allison's jersey, so there's a little bit of a contrast between his uniform and that of Zoltan Toth. And I don't think Gary wants to change his outfit.
Goalkeepers are funny sometimes, you know. That's Gary's favorite blue, #1. He's gotten ready for it. I'm sure that shirt has been good to him in the past. Why change a good thing? They're the two gentlemen who'll be running the show here. They're the control guys. The guy with the ball is a full-time professional referee, Mr. Bill Maxwell. Right on cue that he turned there. And his assistant, the assistant referee, who is in the box, is Mr. Andrew Shaparovich out of Ohio. Now, it's interesting. These two guys are a team, just like the two players are. Shaparovich, the assistant referee, one of his main jobs is to watch the play off the ball, to control the penalties off the ball, as well as running the penalty boxes and the minutes in the penalty. Obviously, the full control of the game is in the hands of the referee in the center.
All right, that is Don Popovich in civilian clothes. And while we have this temporary delay, I'd just like to remind you that this top copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Arrows and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of the Arrows and Sports Channel is prohibited. So while Gary Allison changes his outfits, we look at the Spirit coach, John Kowalski.
There's John, young American coach. He, in fact, is the youngest coach in the league. At 30 years of age, he's already in his 4th year. Last year, he was the coach of the Hartford team, which moved to Memphis this year. And in fact, last week, the New York Arrows beat the Memphis Americans 9-7. John broke in the first year of this league, 78-79. He's assistant coach in the Cincinnati team. And here comes Gary in his second favorite shirt, the green one.
It better be a second, because Gary Allison has changed into his green shirt. The referee, Mr. Maxwell, blows the whistle, and we are just about set to go. We'll pick up the other players as we go along.
Well, the important thing here is the fact that players warmed up and now they've been standing around. So you notice that some of the players were moving, but it's not the same thing. With the festivities, the ceremonies, we're ready for the kickoff now. Gomez
and Jungle right there. Visiting teams kick off in the first and third periods, the home team in the second and fourth. And just underway in Pittsburgh, Bob Goldschall and Nick Zlatar bringing it to you. And the Arrows over midfield. And they go to Jungle on the far side. To number 8, Alberto, who is questionable for tonight. This is his first game after missing a bunch of games. Renato Chila is number 4. And the Arrows on the attack as Gomez loses at midfield. And Pittsburgh upfield quickly. And broken up by the Arrows. Up the near side. And into Pittsburgh territory, broken up by the Spirits. Tibor Molnar. Molnar with a little bit of room. Molnar off the face, the rebound goal.
Well, they'll get everybody started here in a hurry. Here goes Tibor Molnar doing a good job of maintaining possession. Gets by David DeRico, goes through. Chila cuts the angle. But now watch. Zoli goes down and empty net. Now he could have passed, but he holds a little bit longer. He goes off Chila's head, off Luis Alberto's heel. And there's Johnny on the spot. Stan Telecki puts it in 1-0 with an assist to Tibor Molnar. But New York was back there looking to clear. Renato Chila for 1. Luis Alberto for 2, but the bounces are right off the bat with 14:09. 51 seconds into the quarter. Pittsburgh gets the first one.
The quick one by Pittsburgh, and Chila did what he could do, Nick. He was back there and took that shot dead on the forehead. So the Spirit on the board first. Terlicki gets an assist on that play. And with a little carpet adjustment, it is the Arrows who kick off once again.
Again, I think that layoff, that interruption of almost 10+ minutes didn't help.
Alberto with a nice ball to Gomez that time, rather Jungle. In front, shot on goal, blocked that time. Rebound taken by the Arrows as Jungle feeds to the boards to Gomez, recaptured by Pittsburgh. And again, the Spirit moving it up. On the far side, as you see Dorico retreating back there. The Spirit control. This is number 10, Cave. Shot on goal, just wide. Terlicki with some room, loses, regains, saved by Toth. And the Arrows clear for the moment. So it's Pittsburgh with all the pressure early on. And the crowd here at the Civic Arena loves it. Again, the Spirit. And the Arrows with the position defense. And captured by the Arrows at 2-on-1, but a whistle blew.
An unintentional foul, a tripping is called against Luis Alberto. Terlicki made a good move on him, and Terlicki's a cutter. He cuts the ball. He dribbles very well by changing the direction of the ball. And here we get to see it. He holds the ball, sets up, comes in Luis Alberto. Now watch him cut very quickly to his left. Luis was just a little bit too late, and I think that's the injured ankle anyway. So certainly the foul was not a malicious one, but enough of a foul. There
So
the players apologizing to each other.
The free kick, and Pittsburgh with the indirect free kick off the boards. The rebound, just wide. So the Spirit could easily have had 3 goals in this game, as Jungle with a nice ball on the rear side. And back to Jungle on the far side, who tries for the carom, but nobody's there but a Spirit. Recaptured by the Arrows.
John O'Hara that time, an outstanding defender for the Spirit team, had a chippy, an open net, missed a goal.
Mickey Cave to the right side and into the boards. Into the boards with the knee, says official Bill Maxwell.
We have our first penalty of the game. Thibaut Molnar, former New York Arrow. Here we see it. David shuts him down against the boards, goes for the ball a little bit too high. And really the injury occurred when Thibaut fell on his knee. But New York now will be down a player and defending with 4. But New York very, very dangerous here.
Yeah, okay. Dorico into the penalty box for the 2 minutes. And the Spirit playing with a man advantage. Their power play has been successful 18% of the time. They are 3 for 17 on power plays. And of course, the Spirit trying to add to it tonight. There is David Dorico in the penalty box, the All-American from Hartwick. And referee blows the whistle, and we are ready to go with Pittsburgh playing with a man advantage. Long shot on goal over the plexiglass and into the end zone.
Pittsburgh very, very dangerous on these situations, Bob. Watch the fellow that just took that shot. Nathan Sachs is a left-footed player, shoots with power. Mickey Cave, Billy McNichol, a lot of players out there that spend a lot of time practicing exactly this situation.
Pittsburgh with a chest trap, and back come the Spirit as they continue to press the attack with a man advantage. With 1:44 remaining on Dorico's penalty. And some unkind words from Spirit teammate Bill McNichol that time. Spirit right back on the attack again. Toth out of the cage, Jungle back on defense, and Toth back for the ball.
Well, Zoltan had come out to cut the angle, and it did it well.
So Jungle with his team at a man disadvantage. And again, the Spirit, 1:10 remaining on the penalty to Dorico. And the Spirit coming right back. This is number 3, John O'Hara, the All-American from the University of Pittsburgh. Shot on goal, the rebound just wide. The shot taken by Nathan Sachs, the player that Nick mentioned a moment ago with the strong legs. Pittsburgh again on the attack. This is O'Hara. This is Sachs. Shot on goal. Toth makes a nice save. And plenty of zip in that ball as Jungle controls on the far side.
Well, you know what they're trying to do is get the shots off, either off the goalkeeper or right off the boards there, and have 2 guys shooting through. You notice that they always have 2 guys posted deep, like kind of a low post game.
O'Hara saved by Toth, cleared by Jungle. Again, the Spirit control. Another shot on goal wide. And another one wide. So the Arrows controlling nicely as Toth comes out of the area. And Pittsburgh, with just 10 seconds left, will lose the advantage.
Well, Pittsburgh, certainly, Bob, has gotten a lot of shots off. However, the accuracy of their shots was not there. So they've organized well, but not finished.
Dorico out of the penalty box right now. The team's at equal strength as Jungle on the near side, or make that Valtuksha, who was into the game, 21, shot on goal, saved by Allison, who has yet to have a difficult save, with the Spirit leading by a score of 1-0 as we approach the 10-minute mark of the first 15-minute period. Wide, recaptured by the Arrows. This is Paul Kitson, who is just into the game. Paul with the great speed, gives off on the far side. They play the carom, and the header by Jungle goes wide. And Allison has the ball. Allison distributes quickly to McKenzie, or rather, Paul Child. That's Child.
He is one of their key players. You know, we'll talk about Paul a little bit, but he has got to get goals here.
This is McNichol, number 9, to McBride. A lot of Scotch and Irish players on this team. Shot on goal goes over the end and into the alleyway. So goal kick for the Arrows, who trail by a score of 1-0 with 9:27 remaining in period 1.
That was the assistant coach, Mickey Cave, 32-year-old professional, has had a long career in professional soccer, both in this country as well as in Europe. It was Zoltan trying to get the fans to get it back. But we mentioned Paul Child. Paul Child has a distinction of being the second top goal getter in the
NASL.
In the NASL. In 10 years, he has earned that distinction. And he's a very, very dangerous. This is his first year in the Major Indoor Soccer League, but he is a top-notch player, and he can score some goals. He's a great addition to Pittsburgh.
That was Jungle against Toomey just a moment ago. The Arrows control looking a bit sluggish in the early going, as you might imagine, on the 6th game of a road trip. They'll get loosened up. Jungle. And broken up by the Spirit. And this is Paul Child. Plays the carom, but the only one there is Nicky Megaludis, the All-American from LIU, 3-time All-American.
Mickey read that very well. He got to the spot. He knew where the rebound was going to be, and he got there very early and played it safely off to the side.
Nicky, who has seen his college team play on Sports Channel, Nick, as we had carried some LIU games, one of the better teams in collegiate soccer.
Oh, certainly one of the top teams. They lost to the University of Connecticut, who eventually went on to win.
That's right.
The NCAA Division I championship.
Kitson gets taken down, and it'll be a free kick for the Arrows, their first of the game. There's Paul, the speedster who grew up in London. And the kick is saved by Allison. And Gary distributes as the Arrows put a little more pressure on the defense than they did in the early going. Arrows back on the attack again. Kitson with a chest trap. And they go back to Paul. Rather, the carom as Jungle tries to kick it in unsuccessfully. And the Spirit back on the attack again, as the Arrows' Megaludis goes to the far side.
Juan Carlos Mejia carrying the ball. He's another one of the new additions. Billy Gazonis, a new player again, on a turnover.
Here come the Spirit once again. This is Mickey Cave, and a nice tackle that time by Mejia, as Kitson controls for the moment. Paul Kitson goes to Jungle. Steve, with that great dexterity of his, maintains control to Kitson.
Well, there are double sevens down there. Paul Toomey is number 7 along with Jungle.
Goal by Kitson! Paul Kitson to the far corner with a cannon shot, ties the game at 1.
A great goal, unexpected. I don't think Gary was ready for that shot, but Paul makes a wonderful move. Again, showing off his early speed. Now watch, he has already done the damage. See, now he's gotten deep. The angle is not the best. Now look at the goalkeeper. He went down to one knee much too soon. Didn't expect this shot. He thought that Paul would play it off the boards, snuck one by Gary Allison that time. That won't happen too often, but Paul Kitson gets New York back here with 7:23 remaining in the first period.
So Kitson gets the Arrows on the board, and we are tied at 1 with 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first period. Bob Goldshaw and Nick Zlatar bringing it to you on Sports Channel. This is Mickey Cave, shot on goal high, and the rebound goes to Bill McNichol, who controls for the Spirit, loses to the Arrows as the Spirit go back to goalie Allison, with Alex Tarnocci putting some pressure on. And Pittsburgh handles it well for the moment. And they try to mount an attack once again.
But this is that full court pressure that New York every so often puts on that causes tremendous turnovers, because it's very difficult for teams to get out of the back.
Controlled by Renato Chila. And on the far side, it is Mark Liverich. Captured by John O'Hara for the Spirit. The Arrows recapture. And this is Liverich with a little bit of room, goes towards the carom, also goes down, and Liverich comes up limping heavily. He is running to the sidelines. He is coming out of the game. Liverich twisted his ankle on that play as the Spirit come back, and a penalty against the Arrows. Renato Chila. There's Mark on the near side. He went into the boards, Nick, and apparently twisted his ankle when he went down.
It was after he played the ball off the boards, and I think a twisted ankle for Mark, but I have a feeling he'll be back. Those things kind of hurt very, very severely in the beginning, but especially with a little bit of ice on it, they get to feel better.
Tarnocci distributes as the Arrows get something going again. They try a give and go with Tarnocci, but it's intercepted by O'Hara and re-intercepted by the Arrows.
Well, both teams trying to get to establish their rhythm of the game here. It's going back and forth. Very good marking by both teams. They're not allowing each other to play. So the first quarter, we've always seen the other teams do well against the New York Arrows because they're motivated, they're fresh, and not too many mistakes. As the game goes on, especially the second and the fourth quarter, we see more goals.
Okay, Strenisser is in the game. That is Gomez you're looking at. There's Gene, the wily veteran, giving to, this is Chila, as the Arrows reset their offense once again. And on the far side, the passing getting a bit more crisp, and the Arrows with a little bit of room.
Push him away.
Trying to use a little brute force right there to get the ball in. They save it. Gomez does, clears it nicely for Hedgie. Back to Gomez. And with a little bit of room, Strenisser deflected by Allison. Nice work by the Arrows that time.
Yes, they're doing an excellent job here on maintaining possession. They're making Pittsburgh chase, and that leads to frustration.
All right, the interception by Tulecki. Nice interception in turn by Tuksha. Val Tuksha, the veteran.
And Bob, what we've seen so far is that Tulecki, the man that Coach Popovich is most concerned about here, and New York Arrows, making sure that he's kept in check. He is being marked by Gino Strenisser, the veteran, the warhorse, the guy who's been around for longer than anyone else on this team, and he's drawn the task of matching up one-on-one, making sure Tulecki does not cause damage.
All right, this is Julie Hedgie, who looks for teammate Tarnocci, saved by Allison. 3:57 remaining in period number 1. The Spirit won and the Arrows won. A Spirit win tonight will tie them for first place at 6-2. Tie them with the Arrows. An Arrows win gives them sole possession of first place. Jungle wide that time. Molnar clears. And this is number 7, Paul Toomey, the Ivy League player on this team from the University of Pennsylvania, a native of Connecticut. Arrows back on the attack again with 3:20 remaining in the first period, in what has proved an early Pittsburgh Spirit advantage, and the Arrows came back to tie it at 1, and that's how we stand. Jungle. Still Jungle. And the Arrows control. Gomez waits for his wing. That is Strenisser. Gene. Hard shot just high and wide that time. Looked just high and wide from up here, but it was high and wide by a lot more than we thought, Nick. We are seated at the uppermost portion of this arena. And Nick, all I can say is thank goodness I got my contacts changed last week.
There's only one way from down here, and that is a long way down. But Nicky really skied that ball. He got all of it because, again, he was shooting from quite a bit of distance, so he obviously had to go for power. Had a little bit under the ball, and he sent it through gate C30, through the curtain and the whole bit. But we're ready to begin again.
Gary Allison kicks it out, headed towards midfield, reheaded and captured by the Arrows. So the Arrows, again, getting something going. Gomez to Alberto, to Jungle. Little give and go with Steve. Steve in the corner tries the carom, and recaptured by New York.
Well, no one has that understanding with Steve Jungle that Luis Alberto, number 8, does. The two of them have been together on this team for 4 years now, and they know each other inside out.
Don't have to think, do they? It just comes instinctively, Nick.
Well, that's what happens after you've played and got used to someone. You know their moves, you know how their mind works, you know where they're going to be there before they arrive there.
We approach the 2-minute mark as the Spirit gets something going with Bill McNichol giving off to Toomey on the wing. And Zoltan Toth plays the carom and quickly goes out to Jungle.
Well, certainly New York has begun to dominate this game in the last several minutes. The first flurry of shots and attacking by Pittsburgh has been stymied in the last several minutes.
Steve Jungle, who has yet to score tonight, but who has scored in every Arrow game this season. With the first period winding down, 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. As the Spirit with a 4-man offense right now. Now it becomes a 3-man offense. Now a 4-man again as McKenzie comes up. Shot on goal, saved by Toth. And a dangerous play, but it is successful for the Arrows. Nicky Megaludis.
A good shot by Dave McKenzie. He snuck through and poked his shot, made Zoltan go down low. It's a hard save for a goalkeeper.
Gomez, the native of Argentina, gives to Nicky, the native of New York. Try to carom the header, and they go back to Allison. Substitution, Renato Chila coming in for Gomez, I believe. And again, the Spirit, with 53 seconds remaining in the first period, try to get something going. We are tied at 1. Exciting MISL soccer. A sport that has really caught on, and with good reason. Spirit, try for the carom, broken up by the Arrows, captured by Toth.
The ever-dangerous Paul Child. He's always around that penalty area, always around the goal. You know, and he may go around the entire game. Looks awkward sometimes, not the smoothest looking player on occasion. But boy, he knows how to put him in the
bottom line is there, Nick, right?
That's right.
This is Mickey Cave, who's got 10 points this season. One of the dangerous players you talked about. Shot on goal as Toth smothers the carom. And out come the Arrows with 8 seconds remaining. Does Kitson have room? No. And 3 seconds to go as Allison gives off to a teammate. And that is the end of the first period. So after 1 period of play, the Pittsburgh Spirit won, the New York Arrows won, and we'll be back right after this message.
They say you can't take it with you, but with Zenith's new lightweight portable video recorder, you can. It's one of 5 new Zenith Beta VCRs, from the popularly priced model to the most deluxe. Some with wireless remote control, slow motion, stop frame, even front load. All with speed search and all with Zenith's famous picture quality. Zenith. The quality goes in before the name goes on.
Take advantage of great discounts.
You are looking at the turf here at the Pittsburgh Civic Center. And in that first period, if you joined us late, it was the Pittsburgh Spirit who got on the board. I was going to say, Nick, rather quickly. Change that to quickly. They scored before the first minute of play had gone by. And then after Pittsburgh had led by a score of 1-0, it was Paul Kitson who came off the bench for the Arrows. And the very quick player evened the score.
Well, here he is. Watch. Jukes left, goes right, pushes the ball. Now his good speed gets it by. And again, the goalkeeper reaching for it, Gary Allison. One of the problems for goalkeepers that they tend to do, especially as the season goes on. Here we see a little housekeeping. We'll describe to you in a second what he's doing. But goalkeepers tend to go down a little bit too soon. And that time I think Gary just got fooled because the angle was not there. And he thought that Paul was going to go off the post and play it back, but he didn't. Snuck one by him. That's the 7th goal for Paul Kitson.
Well, you just saw one of the maintenance men working on one of the seams on this indoor carpet, which I noticed had come loose early in the going, and they are just putting some form of glue on it to stick it down so the players will not have to worry about any kind of injury. And the second period about to begin, but before it does, let's go to this message.
This Bud's for that first day on the job.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
So the second period just about set to go. We are tied at 1. And the home team kicks off, as we said earlier, in periods 2 and 4. The visiting teams in 1 and 3. And Dave McKenzie gets things going for the Spirit. As Terlecki and Chila banged bodies a moment ago. Arrows moving from right to left. Spirit from left to right, a whistle. Against Terlecki, Nick?
No, he's going to call it, I believe, against Chila. It'll be, I think, no. What had happened is Renato had slipped.
In timeout.
And here's the carpet again coming up. Renato has the ball. There he goes. And you can see Renato loses his footing because of the carpet, looks back to see who tripped him.
So it was an official timeout, as, again, the seam causing some problems.
And this will be a drop ball, I believe, here.
Yeah. A drop ball, and if you thought that MISL was comparable to hockey in many ways, of course you're correct. That's just another example for you hockey fans out there who also enjoy indoor soccer. The Arrows, with a little bit of room, shot on goal. Nice save by Allison. Jungle controls. And they try to go to Kitson, broken up by the Spirit. Jungle reclaims from Billy Gozanis, who was into the game for the first time. There's little Billy. Jungle loses the edge.
You mentioned hockey. There's a fellow number 2, Dave McKenzie, for the Spirit, who's a former collegiate hockey player.
That's right. Played at Colgate.
Colgate, that's right.
Collegiate soccer and hockey for Dave McKenzie.
Inside the boards is nothing new to him.
And while Chila ties his lace, momentary delay in the action, and we're set to go. We're tied at 1. The second period just underway as the Spirit get things going again. And the Arrows recapture on the near side. Molnar is number 8 for the Spirit, and that is Kitson to Chila, back to Kitson. Paul up the far wing. Nice ball to Jungle, but nice tackle that time by O'Hara. Again, the Spirit on the attack as they approach the red line. Long shot on goal goes wide. And broken up by Tuksha. Recaptured by the Spirit. And the squaring off of the defender as Jungle comes back. The Spirit controlling the action, early going, second period, just as they did in the first.
And they're playing a good possession game. They're not taking risks and just kicking the ball like they did that time, but they played in the corner.
Rebound, goal!
That's their magic man, Stan Terlecki. See, they play the ball deep into the corner. Comes back. Now Zoltan gets his hands on it, but watch Terlecki. Always at the right time. This is all the characteristics that great goal getters have. Get to the ball, and he tucks it away past the diving Zoltan.
Did you see him reverse his body position, Nick, to get his shoulders facing the goal? He did a complete 360 in seemingly no time.
Very, very difficult to shoot out of a turn like that and do it quickly, but that's his forte. He's a very mobile player. He's only about 5'8".
Shot on goal, rebound just high, broken up by the Arrows as the Spirit having instant replay here in the second period. And a holding penalty that time against one of the Spirit players. I did not see which one.
Well, I'm very surprised that this is not a two-minute penalty here, because certainly it was a blatant foul.
Val Tuksha goes to David Dorico. This is Julie Heggie, rather.
Nathan Sachs that time was very lucky that the referee did not call him into the box.
Here's Liverich back into the game after injuring his ankle earlier. So Mark is okay. And the Spirit with a breakaway. No! Rebound Toth. Break for the Arrows that time.
But Paul Child did a very intelligent thing. He saw the goalkeeper coming out. He tried to play it off the boards to himself and just wasn't there.
This is Dorico with a nice ball to Heggie on the far side. Broken up by Toomey. Paul Toomey.
Heggie and Toomey were teammates last year, but that time Paul went into that tackle, really meaning all of it.
Spirit on the attack again. And he didn't see him, but the Arrows control nevertheless. Mark Liverich with 10 points this season. On the far side to Jungle, who loses. The Arrows recapture. And Liverich to Tuksha. Val Tuksha on the far side to Heggie. And broken up by the Spirit and sent over the sideboards. So it will be the Arrows putting the ball back into play as we look at some of the enthusiastic Pittsburgh crowd rooting for their traditional black and gold of all the Pittsburgh pro teams. And you saw Liverich on that seam, Nick.
Yep, there's that carpet coming up again. They've got to do a little bit better housekeeping here.
Shot on goal is shanked. The rebound by Jungle is no good. And back come the Arrows. Liverich giving to Heggie. Broken up by the Spirit. And now it is the Arrows who control the action. They trail by a score of 2-1 with 5 minutes gone here in period number 2. And Tuksha on the far side. Rebound just missed that time and captured by the Spirit. Whistle.
Now, there's 2 times that the ball came off the boards and Steve was there but couldn't get the goal. 2 excellent opportunities, just was unlucky not to get at least one of those in. We have a handball now, and the discussion is whether or not it occurred
in the box.
That's right. The referee says no, it occurred outside the box.
All right, so this is an indirect.
No, this will be a direct.
I'm sorry, this is a direct.
In other words, you can score direct goal, but I think it'll be a pass.
Broken up and recaptured by the Arrows, and the Spirit break it up. This is Alberto to Jungle with a header, broken up by Allison.
Out of the corner of his eye, Steve knew exactly what a goalkeeper was. Last minute, tried to flick it by him, but Gary wasn't to be beaten that time. It's good to see Luis Alberto back. You know, he missed that game against the Memphis Americans. He's had a groin injury that's kind of nagged him all along. And the coach and Bobby Baldwin, the trainer, felt that it's better to be cautious early in the season and not let it get worse. So let's keep an eye on how Luis.
Okay, it's a 44-game season. They've only played 7 games, so they've got some time. This is Alberto, and broken up by O'Hara. So John O'Hara, who lives in Pittsburgh.
He's a local favorite.
Yes, he is.
Good defender. He can hit the ball. He was an all-star player. They like him here. Great tackle by Gene Strinitz at that time.
Strinitz.
I enjoy watching him play all the time.
The 36-year-old. As Jungle recaptures for the Arrows. Look at Steve, he wants the ball. And on the far side, he gets taken down. No, Steve still controlling the ball. This time he goes down. Molnar.
Tibor. Got him in the shin, but
Tibor Molnar.
2-minute penalty now. Tibor will go into the box. And here's Steve putting all his energy on defense now, trying to get the ball back for his team. He gets it here. Now watch Tibor. Goes for the ball, but a little bit too high.
Close call. But that is Tibor Molnar in the penalty box, who, as Nick said, was an Arrow. He played for them for 2 years. The native of Hungary who now lives in New York City.
He's a resident of New York, plays in the local leagues in New York during the off-season. Loves living in New York City. Last year was with Hartford and Baltimore, and now calls Pittsburgh his home.
The Spirit lead it by a score of 2-1, and we have 9 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in period number 2. As the Arrows press the attack, shot goal! Broken up, shot on goal, goal! Jungle was thwarted by the goalie, and the rebound, Nick, I did not see who scored it. I believe it was number 9 right there, Gomez.
Right. It was Omar Gomez that
Yep.
put it in, but something interesting here, Bob. This is one of the few times that Steve does not follow up his shot. He is great at following up opportunities in front of the goal. Now here we see the ball comes back off the ball, save. Now, see, notice for a split second there, Steve stood and watched, but the ball rebounds back to Gomez, who tucks it into the empty net.
So we're tied at 2. The Spirit come right back and almost score. I think Jungle thought that ball that he shot was in, Nick, and then was kind of surprised when it wasn't.
He saw the save, but I think he was blocked by the other defender in front of him.
Chased down by Alberto as Juan Carlos Mejia captures for the Arrows. 2-2, 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Bob Goldschall and Nick Zlatar bringing you this game on Sports Channel. This is MISL, Major Indoor Soccer League, as Nicky Megaludis goes to the far side to Gomez. Gomez to Mejia. And down the near side and broken up. Recaptured by the Arrows. Jungle. Almost. Amazing angles he kicks from.
But Steve is having one of those nights so far. You know, he's gotten a number of opportunities, as you pointed out. He didn't have a good angle, but he got a great shot off. It was going for the corner, and the save was there. So now, very easily, he could have had 4 goals by this point.
Well, as we said earlier, Jungle has scored in every game he's played for the Arrows this season. Holding call that time against Nicky Megaludis on the far side, so a free kick for the Spirit.
You know, for the armchair quarterbacks, Bob, or those who have not played the game of soccer, it's hard to realize how exactly difficult it is to score, especially with the small goals and a goalkeeper there to thwart your attempts. You watch these guys do it, it looks easy.
It's easy. The Spirit on the attack again. Funny, in each period, Nick, the Spirit got off to the good start, scored each time, and then it's been the Arrows for the second two-thirds or so of the period. Shot on goal goes into the seats.
Well, neither team has been able to sustain a real good effort to really establish their force on the game. So the momentum has swayed back and forth. One line will dominate, and then another line will come back and will not be able to sustain the same effort.
Well, the Arrows playing their 6th game of a 6-game road trip. Their last game was a 9-7 comeback win against Memphis a few nights ago. And Don Popovich was telling me at lunch today that players are just a bit weary, as you might imagine. This is an extended road trip. But gee, to win 4 out of 5 games on the road, Nicky, I think any professional team would be happy with that record.
But the Arrows have done that in the past, you know. Yep. There are times when their record away from home is better than at home.
Well, they've got so much talent on this team.
Well, talent, yes, but
and
also
and a lot of things.
That's right. They're very well organized. They're a professional organization. You know, you can see before every game the seriousness, the concentration levels. They come to play every game.
Jungle draws the penalty, and it will be an indirect free kick as the Arrows put it into play. There's Steve, who has yet to score, but don't bet on that one before the night's over.
Well, Paul Toomey has done a good job so far on Steve, and as I mentioned, luck hasn't been with him either. So when he's been free, he hasn't been able to tuck it away, although he's had good opportunities. But, you know, there are days like that. Sometimes you touch everything and boom, it finds its way in the back of the net. Other days you have great attempts and it just doesn't go.
And Gary Allison has it. We are tied at 2. 6 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first half as Jungle presses the attack and Paul Kitson handles things for the moment. Nice ball to Alberto that time, but broken up by the Spirit.
And Alberto tried to play it right back to find Paul, just couldn't thread the fine line to make the pass.
Here's Kitson again. Tries to go to Jungle.
But Paul doing an excellent job by pressurizing the ball twice. The last 2 times New York has got the ball, it's been through his winning the ball.
Look at Jungle use that body. Goal! Jungle, I don't think got the goal that time, unless he might have just flicked it at the last second, Nick. I think Kitson gets credit for it. We'll see. But watch Jungle with that body control right there.
You know, strength, goes in, plays it back, tucks it away. Paul Kitson does, and he gets the goal assist to Steve Jungle. So can't keep him off the scoring charts too long, but very, very good effort in getting to the ball first before the defender uses strength and quickness and then played it back. Paul Kitson gets his 2nd goal of the evening, number 8 for the year. So he's really having a good year. And he's a key here, Bob, for this team because Branko Segodas, the followers of the Arrows, know is not here, and that scoring slack has to be picked up, and Paul Kitson is one of the guys to do it.
McKenzie sends it in front of the cage and broken up by Alberto. Again, the carom played by Cave. And here come the Arrows. Megaludis, or rather Dorico, to Kitson as the Arrows form the attack. Alberto. Nice ball on the far side to Chila. And back they go to goalie Allison.
I tell you, Luis Alberto really sends those balls. That time we saw Chila moving forward. He's one of the best, if not the best, attacking defender in the league. And Lewis found him there.
Leverich replaces Kitson for the Arrows as the tempo picks up considerably. Jungle loses to the Spirit. And that is Molnar, Tibor Molnar, who is back in action again for Pittsburgh. 4:45 remaining in the first half. The Arrows, for the first time, lead it 3-2 penalty.
There we see that quickness again of Telecki. Boop, there he goes. And you notice he fell right on the left knee, on the patella, and this is what hurt him more than the tackle by Luis Alberto.
Nick, I want to say that the defender went for the ball that time, but I'm not sure he is so quick with that move of his.
Well, this is what happens, you know. The quickness, one of the key elements in athletics is quickness. Whether it be basketball or soccer or football, you know, sports are for quick people, and that time Luis Alberto was just a little bit slow in getting his leg down. But see, he is so good, he is so quick, and he's a cutter. Goes left, it goes right, both ways equally well.
And again, the Arrows break it up. But the Spirit recapture with 4:35 remaining. Pittsburgh down by a goal. Again, Pittsburgh on the attack. This is O'Hara. To the far side, back to O'Hara. There's the Spirit playing it a little cozy right now. Give to Terlecki. And the carom handled by the Arrows, rehandled by the Spirit. Alberto comes up the middle. He's got Leverich on his left. He's also got room. Goal! Luis Alberto, when he saw the defender, leaned towards the wing.
Great individual play. He has already beaten Tibor Molnar. Now watch. Looks right, looks left, sees the goalkeeper on the line, tucks it to his low left. Perfect shot, inches away from the post, and salutes. A great, great effort.
And Nick, what he did is so common in basketball, where that defender had to pick either the middleman or the wing. He leaned towards the wing, and when Alberto saw that, bang, 4-2 Arrows.
A super play, you know, he did magic that we didn't see in the replay when he won the ball. His vision of the play was superb. He beat two guys just by knowing where they were. They anticipated a pass, and he dribbled right past them.
Here comes the Spirit.
There's that gentleman we spoke about. But again, not a well-created goal, but certainly a scramble on the boards. And there he is, man on the spot. Mr. Child gets the third goal. And we got a good look at Paul Child.
And the Spirit doing most of their offensive damage on the caroms in tight. Whereas the Arrows, mainly on classic shots for the most part, not every one.
But you know, that's how
Goal's a goal.
Oh, sure, they count just the same.
Strenisser on the far side to Val Tuksha. To Strenisser. Here comes Gene. And Tuksha, the veteran. Arrows lead it by a score of 4-3 as we approach the 3-minute mark in this first half of play. And we hope you're enjoying this on Sports Channel. We are bringing it to you. Exciting MISL action. Paul Child ridden off the play by Strenisser. And I believe they call it against the Spirit's Paul Child.
But an excellent call. I don't know what Paul is complaining about. He had his hands all over Gene Strenisser. The referee caught him at it. But he knew, a little bit of play acting.
So the Arrows are up by 1 with 2:42 remaining and a whistle as play gets a little bit more physical. I believe that's Nathan Sachs who was taking down little Billy Gazanis a moment ago.
Well, here we see it now. Watch. No doubt about this one.
That sure was. Sachs gets the penalty. Or the whistle. No penalty.
Last time we saw Mr. Maxwell referee a game was New York versus Phoenix in that great game with 25 goals. Not one penalty was called in that game.
Strenisser at midfield with his team up by 1. As Jungo, who has yet to score, but certainly has played well. Tuksha still controls and goes to Gomez. This is Billy Gazanis. The Arrows controlling the action after that early moments of period number 2. And Andy McBride goes back to goalie Gary Allison. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Arrows with a kick on the near side. This is Gene Strenisser, who's got 3 points this year on 2 goals and 1 assist. The native of Hungary, who now lives in New York.
Canadian citizen, has played for the Canadian national team, was the captain of that national team.
And perhaps 3-year-old daughter Yvette is watching him tonight on Sports Channel. I say perhaps because it might be past her bedtime, Nick.
Well, you know, when daddy is on, sometimes you break the
Keep
rule
up
or
a
bend
little
it.
bit late. Zoltan Toth.
And we talk about Zoltan's ball soccer playing skills with his feet. There he showed it again.
Jungo broken up by Allison, and this is Mickey Cave. Dangerous with 10 points. As the Spirit try to tie this game. Shot on goal broken up by Strenisser. Recaptured by Molnar. Broken up, Toth comes out and has it. So the Arrows with 1:22 remaining in the first half. And up a goal. Jungo with a bit of room. Still Jungo. Jungo with a left foot wide.
He was going for all of it that time. Had a good goal-scoring opportunity. Just cut it a little bit too much off the mark.
Molnar did not expect the return pass, and the Arrows break it up with 1 minute remaining in the first half as the Arrows come down once again. Shot played for the Coyotes. Save. Part of the ball is over, but the entire ball has to be over.
Pittsburgh certainly is lucky there. Great save, a very timely save by Gary Allison. This way they go down into the locker room with perhaps a goal down, whereas the other way 2 goals down. Different feeling.
Look at Jungle, one-on-one, waits for a teammate. now he swings it to the wing, and it's broken up by the Spirit. With 10 seconds to go, shot broken up. Arrows recapture Megaludis.
Talicki knew he didn't have any help coming, so he figured he'd get the shot off, take a chance.
5 seconds to go, 4. The long shot stopped by Allison, and the half comes to an end. So an exciting first half as the Arrows and the Spirit trading goals in the early going, with the Spirit getting on the scoreboard first, going up by a score of 1-0 on the score by Tibor Molnar. The Arrows came back and tied it in the first period on a goal by Kitson. And that's how the first period ended, with the teams tied at 1. But we've had a lot of exciting action in this first half, and we're going to take a look at that great effort by Steve Jungle.
Here we see the ball coming off the glass. Omar is there, tucks it away, controls it with the instep. But Gary Allison, that's why he's getting paid. Stop it from going in there.
Okay, we'll be back with more halftime activity right after this message.
Wouldn't it be nice for do-it-yourself motorists if motor oil cans had a built-in funnel to eliminate spills and could be recapped for storage? Citgo all-season multi-grade motor oil comes in a new plastic container with an easy open, easy close screw-top lid and a built-in funnel that puts Citgo motor oil where it belongs, in your engine. Citgo, we've changed the way you change your oil.
Available at these car dealers: DeFeo Buick, Jersey City, New Jersey; Max and Pontiac, Union, New Jersey.
From the opening gun when the Spirit got on the board first, and it was Molnar, as we said, who opened the scoring for the Spirit. He put the Pittsburgh team ahead by a score of 1-0. Then it was Paul Kitson who came back and tied the score at 1. That was how the first period ended, with a score. The Spirit won and the Arrows won. Then in the second period, and it's interesting, Nick, the tendencies were the same in that second period, and what I mean by that is the Spirit got off winging. They got right off the bat, again, as they did in the first, and again it was Pittsburgh scoring, this time Terlicki making it 2-1 in favor of the Spirit. But the Arrows came back to tie the score at 2-2 on a goal by Gomez. They went ahead on a goal by Kitson to make it 3-2. They went ahead 4-2 when Alberto scored for the Arrows, but just moments after Alberto scored to make it 4-2, it was the Spirit who came back on a goal by Paul Child to make it 4-3. And that's how the first half ended, with the score: the New York Arrow 4 and the Pittsburgh Spirit 3. A very, I thought, well-played first half, Nick.
Yes, well played. Neither team could dominate. New York certainly had a lot more good opportunities, excellent opportunities, and perhaps I thought maybe, was unlucky not to have 4 or 5 additional goals. But no one controlled the pace of the game. One of the things you always try to do is begin to dominate the opponent by making him play your rhythm. Kind of going back and forth. It'll be very interesting to see what the second half brings.
Well, we have one interesting statistic or streak going right now. Jungle has yet to score. Of course, we've got another half coming up, and it should be an exciting half if it's anything like the first. We are going to be back with Nick's guest right after this message.
This Bud's for everyone who's in the groove. It's 5 minutes on the upswing of 5. Outside is 87 degrees under sunny blue skies. Stay tuned for my man Flash. I'm moving out of here, having myself an ice cold brew.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
All you do is good for you.
I know.
Hi, with me at halftime is one of the newest New York Arrows, first season with the team, Billy Gazonis. And Billy, welcome to the Arrows.
Thank you, Nick.
Billy has been around for 5 years now as a professional soccer player, and I thought maybe it would be good to introduce him to you and get to know him a little bit, because he's playing a very important role with this team. Billy, why don't you just come back and tell us a little bit where you started and your soccer background.
Well, I grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, and went to Hartwick College, and had a pretty successful career. We were national champions, and then I went to Tulsa Roughnecks for 3 years, And last year I played with Calgary before joining the Arrows.
No, one of the things that we talk about soccer is the fact that you don't have to be a giant to play this game. Billy at 5'5" puts his mark on every time that he plays this game. Billy, how has your size either affected positively or perhaps negatively your style of play?
Well, I think it has a positive effect because when I was younger, I couldn't rely on, say, a tremendous amount of strength in that, and I had to rely on technique and intelligence. And now, especially in the indoor game, that's what I think the game's all about, and strength in the corners, and I think it's helped me a lot.
Well, one of the things in watching you play, and you've gotten 5 goals so far in the early season for the team, but one of the things that's impressed me has been your shielding of the ball. When did you develop that particular skill?
I was fortunate that I had an ex-professional in Trenton who helped train me, and I would say around my senior year in high school, we really worked on it, and it's helped me a lot, especially considering my size.
Well, you know, Billy went to a couple of powerhouses, one of them Trenton, New Jersey, which traditionally has sent a number of players into the professional ranks and top American kids. And then Billy mentioned Hartwick College, always up there, not just for the last 5 or 10 years, but really for the 20 years. I remember 20 years ago, Hartwick College being up on top. So you follow some really good models.
Oh yeah, you know, I think I've had good opportunities in that because a lot of the kids don't have the advantage of playing in a soccer area where there's a lot of good soccer and they could emulate good players, where I had an advantage to see some good players when I was growing up.
What is your key role on this team?
Well, Coach Popovich likes the midfielders to really set the tempo of the game and get the team playing a passing game. Don't hold the ball long, be the third player up in the attack and the third player back in the defense.
How about your goal-scoring abilities? You know, you certainly were not known as a goal-getter. The goal you scored against Memphis, coming down on a 3-on-2 break, hitting the ball first time with your left foot, that had to give you a little bit of gratification.
Oh, yeah, it was good. I don't know, maybe when I was growing up, I always had more enjoyment out of making goals for players and scoring them. But in the indoor game, everyone's expected to score goals and make goals, so I have to keep it up.
You know, indoor season now, Major Indoor Soccer League is in its 4th year. You played in both leagues. How do you distinguish the Major Indoor Soccer League from the when you were playing indoors with the Tulsa team?
Well, I think the MISL is much more professional. It's taken, this is the season, it's 100% serious. The teams are that much fitter and more organized, and there's so many more games, whereas in the NASL, I believe a lot of times it's just to keep the players fit during the off-season, and that's how they take it, so a lot of the players don't take it serious.
But certainly we know that you've always taken it serious, and maybe you should smile a little bit now, Billy, but let's just look at your skill development, and because I think you're a good model for the young American players. You've been around now both, as we said, in youth soccer and club soccer and college soccer, now 5 years in the professionals. What's happened to the American player?
Well, it's very difficult for him, I think, because as the American player keeps getting better, the standard of the play keeps getting better, and it seems like he's still trying to climb the ladder to get up there. But every year it seems there's better young players, and hopefully they'll get the opportunity to show how good they really can be.
This is your chance to play with the championship team. If I remember correctly, you have never won a ring or a championship. You've come close to it, although at Hartwick. Did you win it with Hartwick?
Yeah, at Hartwick we won a national championship at a professional level. This is the first time I really think I can win a championship ring.
So now we're almost gone around the league, Billy. We've seen a lot of the opponents. What do you think? How's the season going to finish for the New York Arrows?
I think we'll only get better because although we're 3-time defending champs, there was a lot of new players brought into the team this year, and we're still getting to know each other and the little things and iron them out. And we've played 6 games away from home out of our 7, and when we get home, I think we're really going to be tough.
And this has been a tough stretch, 6 games away, on the road, losing 1, and here a very exciting game with the Pittsburgh Spirit team, certainly a team that can do a lot of damage. And thank you very much, Billy, and we'll be right back after this.
Wouldn't it be nice for do-it-yourself motorists if motor oil cans had a built-in funnel to eliminate spills and could be recapped for storage? Citgo all-season multi-grade motor oil comes in a new plastic container with an easy-open, easy-close screw-top lid and a built-in funnel that puts Citgo motor oil where it belongs, in your engine. Citgo. We've changed the way you change your oil.
Distributed by Litvin Burns, Brooklyn, New York. Call 212-451-1640.
With me at halftime is a gentleman who plays a very, very important role for this team, not on the field, but off the field. And sometimes those roles are as important as those being fought during the game. Mr. Chris Wright, the general manager.
Thank you, Nick.
Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about this team?
Well, obviously we had a year's hiatus last year, Nick. We didn't play. The side was previously owned by Frank Fura, who decided to sell the franchise during the year's hiatus, and Mr. Edward DeBartolo from Youngstown bought the franchise and gave me the job as general manager of the side to try and put the franchise together both on the field of play and off the field of play. My first move really was to hire John Kowalski as coach. I really admired John 2 years ago when he came here after Alex Pringle got the sack because they had a disastrous start to the season, came in with Len Billows, did a tremendous job of coaching and brought the side around, and eventually we went out to New York actually in the semi-final 2 years ago. So I hired him as the coach, and then John and myself got to work to try and put a competitive playing side together.
Well, I think you certainly have, but let's just stay with the job of the general manager a little bit, and maybe soccer's a little bit different than being the GM for the New York Yankees, you know, where the bankroll is not unlimited, although you have an owner that's a little bit unique for soccer people. Why don't you tell us about him a little bit?
Well, Mr. DeBartolo, as you know, owns the San Francisco 49ers, the football team. Also owns the Pittsburgh Penguins, who play here in the National Hockey League, and also owns a number of racetracks throughout the country. But the one thing that I was told quite exquisitely when I came into the job was the bankroll that I did have to work with. We work very, very hard with budgets like any other side, and obviously it's relative to the number of people that you can put in the stands. We're not in the business to lose money. We're here to at least break even, if not make money. So therefore, my hands are tied from a budgetary point of view, and obviously we work within those tight constraints. So having established a budget for our playing staff, I really don't know how much involved general managers in general in the league do get involved in selection of players, etc. But John and myself decided that we would do everything together as a team. And every decision that we do make with regards to a player, to his selection of coming to Pittsburgh, we do work together. So from that point of view, I work very, very closely with the coach, but obviously we had to establish a good front office staff, and that is also part and parcel of my responsibilities, and just generally the overseeing of everything that goes on in the club.
And, you know, in case you're wondering, you're now listening with an accent. John was now born in Western Pennsylvania. He himself is a former coach and came here. Why don't you tell our viewers how you came, because it's, I think, an interesting story.
Well, I came here, I was coaching back home in England, and I managed to achieve my full coaching award in England. Was involved with both professional soccer and semi-professional soccer, also college soccer over there. And then the county commissioner here, who became a soccer fan because his son got very involved in high school soccer in the Allegheny County area, went to England to look for a coach to come over here to coordinate youth soccer programs in this area and get them to grow and establish coaching courses, referees courses, and just generally put together township soccer programs in this area. And in fact, I was the person who he chose to do the job, and not because of myself, but because there's some tremendous people now involved in soccer in this area. We went from 2,000 kids playing soccer to 20,000 in the space of 3 years.
Let's look at the game coming up in the second half. Are you pleased?
I'm pleased that we're competitive in our division. I think there's a Division 1 and Division 2 in the MISL, and I think after the year's hiatus they threw us straight back in amongst the Lions, and we went straight back into Division 1. And to draw people in Pittsburgh, you've got to have a winning franchise. To get them through the turnstiles, you've got to have a competitive team. And if I'm pleased about one thing, okay, it's that we do have a competitive franchise here in Pittsburgh.
Well, you certainly have. With New York up by 1 goal, I made a comment that New York could have been up by 4 or 5. They didn't finish some of the opportunities, but certainly a very well-organized team, and I wish you a lot of good luck for a successful year.
Thank you, Nick.
How about Michelob Light for the winners? Sure. Oh, you're mighty thirsty.
Would a bunch of guys really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Those guys could have beaten the Russians today. You think they'd play us for a Michelob Light?
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
Well, we're at halftime in the Pittsburgh Civic Center with the score, the Arrows 4 and the Pittsburgh Spirit 3. We mentioned this road trip by the Arrows. This is the 6th game of this extended road trip. And while we mention that, we'd also like to remind you that you can welcome the Arrows back They play this Sunday afternoon, December 20th, when they face the formidable Buffalo Stallions at 2:05 p.m. And that, of course, is at the Nassau Coliseum. So come on out, welcome the Arrows back from this most successful road trip. And Nick, we have got a soccer game on our hands, 4-3 in favor of the Arrows, with the scoring coming in spurts tonight. 1-1 at the end of the first period. Start of the second period, Pittsburgh went ahead by a score of 2-1. Then the Arrows scored 3 unanswered goals to go ahead 4-2. But just as they went ahead by the 2 goals, it was Pittsburgh's Paul Child coming back, coming up with a carom to make the score 4-3. That's how we stand. And we'll be back with the start of the second half right after this message.
They say you can't take it with you, but with Zenith's new lightweight portable video recorder, you can. It's one of 5 new Zenith Beta VCRs, from the popularly priced model to the most deluxe. Some with wireless remote control, slow motion, stop frame, even front load. All with speed search and all with Zenith's famous picture quality. Zenith. The quality goes in before the name goes on.
Bob Goldschall and Nick Zlatar coming to you from Pittsburgh with this MISL game. The second half just about to get underway as Don Popovich, the dapper Don Popovich, who is one heck of a coach. Nick, you're closer to him than I am. He has done an outstanding job with this team. And interestingly enough, the Arrows did not sit still after winning their 3rd consecutive championship. They did what they thought would bolster the team's long-term goals and got 10 new players this season.
Well, the idea is always to upgrade. In sports, you can never be happy with yesterday's results. And certainly Coach Popovich prepares a team, organizes a team, and develops a team. He has a lot of characteristics that coaches around the world just do not have. One of them is the ability to identify talent. Every year he brings in 10 or so new players. Every year they win the whole show. His counterpart, John Kowalski, in the footsteps of becoming a professional coach.
Nick, I just wanted to say that the first goal, which I had credited to Molnar, was actually officially given to Terlicki. So Terlicki with the first 2 Pittsburgh goals tonight. And the second half is underway with the Arrows leading by a score of 4-3. And the way this game is going, anything can happen.
Well, in talking to John Kowalski before the game, I said, John, what do you anticipate today? He says, well, it could be a blowout for them or a blowout for us, or it could be a real close game. I said, great, John.
That's a tremendous prediction, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really glad I talked to you.
The Arrows lose for a moment, and it is the Spirit who have dominated the first few minutes of each period tonight. Kind of like a boxer. Oh, a missed rebound, goal! A mess up that time between the goalie, and I think that was, let me identify him, Dorico. Yes, David Dorico and goalie Toth. You see it did not mesh well on that one, and it cost him.
Well, Terlicki gets his hat trick, and not the most beautiful goal, but certainly deserved it. He was there at the right spot, and a communication problem. David thought that Zoltan was going to come and get the ball, and just a problem in communication. Terlicki tucked it away.
We are tied at 4, and sometimes you just hang around the net. Those things are going to happen. They used to call them, Nick, they used to call it garbage points in basketball, which was always a misnomer. They're
right.
Not at all.
There's no such thing as a garbage. And you notice how only the great players, whether they be basketball or soccer players, the great ones are the ones that get
That's right.
them.
Good point. Jungle, who has yet to score. And it is the Spirit who take over. This time, Toth comes out of the area. And for a moment, it looked a bit shaky, but the Arrows do control. And on the near side, they play the carom, but it's broken up by the Spirit. That was Chila.
But a repeat performance of the first quarter with Pittsburgh Spirit coming out and getting that goal early.
Molnar on the far side. Shot on goal, broken up by Toth, recaptured by Jungle. Steve, who's played well, although he hasn't scored, setting up a beautiful goal by Paul Kitson. As we are tied at 4 early in the third period. Tuksha to Alberto, and broken up by the Spirit. A nice ball to the far side to Child, who's already gotten the goal, and Toth makes the save. Zoltan Toth replacing Shep Messing tonight, as Coach Don Popovich tries not to let his, I won't say second string, but non-starting goalies get stale.
Well, there are no second string goalkeepers here. Both of them,
right,
are equally important, and in a 44-game season, you got to have 2 good ones.
Gary Allison.
Also, just to mention, there was a tragedy in the Messing family. Shep's grandma passed away, and so our condolences to the family.
All right. The Spirit, as Paul Toomey goes on the far side to Child. This is Child being marked by Tuksha. And the Arrows, Jungle. Nice marking that time by the Spirit to break it up. Recaptured again by the Arrows, and Tuksha with a little bit of room. Val, shot on goal, goal! Val Tuksha, who controlled the ball, as you saw, deciding whether to pass or set himself up, and watch how he does it.
There's Ironman Val Tuksha. Goes over, gets that left foot over. Gary Allison down a little bit late, and the ball squirms under him. 5th goal for the New York team, 6th goal for Val Tuksha for the season. He's having a real good start. He's got 12 points now with 6 goals and 6 assists, and he gets New York back on their winning ways.
So the Arrows go up by a score of 5-4. That goal coming at 3:26 if you're keeping score of the third period. And Val Tuksha puts the Arrows ahead. Again, Tuksha just wide. Jungle tries to play the rebound. Steve controls. Gazonis, and broken up by the Spirit. Sachs upfield, and the Spirit control. This is Paul Child, the 29-year-old forward from England, to Sachs, the South African. Rebound missed. The Spirit claiming that an Arrow player touched, and it's going to be a goal kick, as Paul Child's complaints fall on deaf ears of Mr. Maxwell.
But that was a prepared play. The ball was in the left side. Sachs played it. We'll get this right. Several whistles going for illegal start of play.
Yeah.
So now they put the ball back and get it right.
And the Arrows, Paul Kitson into the game once again. Back they go to Allison, being marked by Kitson with a lot of pressure, and it pays off because the Arrows get the ball right back, and that's going to be a corner kick. Have we had one yet, Nick? The corner? First one, isn't it, of the night?
First one.
Yeah. Paul Kitson, who did it with sheer speed that time.
But he has produced that quality in his play tonight by pressurizing the ball, by chasing it. He has scored a lot of turnovers.
Caused one right there. So the corner broken up, and the Spirit kick it out of trouble for the moment as Nicky Megaludis goes back to Toth. And Gene Strenisser. Strenisser loses momentarily, and Toth way out of the cage to kick it out of trouble. Nice ball by Jungle to Kitson. Paul down the right side. Still Kitson to Jungle's shot, broken up. Nice save by Allison that time. Good work by the Arrows. Kitson into the boards. And the Spirit right back as the Arrows press the attack and steal. Jungle. Steve with nifty footwork goes down, no whistle. Look for the call, but he didn't get it. And the Arrows break it up again.
Now both teams have played a very controlled game up until this point. Now things are going a little bit helter-skelter. Let's see if New York, if Gene Strenisser will slow it down now as we see a line change and to begin play more structured and more organized.
Leverage coming in. Also Alberto, that's Luis right there. Gives to Strenisser. Gene to Luis. Luis in front of the red line. Arrows are leading it by a score of 5-4. We have 9:20 remaining in the third as the Spirit come right back. Molnar, shot on goal, broken up that time by Megaludis. Recaptured by the Spirit, recaptured by the Arrows. Down goes Gomez and a whistle. Tobar Molnar saying no. Referee Maxwell saying yes.
It's like a kid getting caught with a hand in a cookie jar. That innocent smile saying, me?
Not me.
Would I ever do that to my friend Luis Alberto?
Arrows up by 1 as the Spirit, who have come back and have also led tonight, hang very tough. 8:45 remaining in the third. Bob Goldschall and Nick Zlatar bringing it to you on Sports Channel. And
well, so
Nicky
far,
Megaludis.
This has been the closest game of the season as far as the biggest spread we saw was a 2-goal difference when New York led 4-2. But it's up and down. It's everybody's ball game. Yep. Nobody has become a dominant force here. So a very, very competitive, closely contested game.
Megaludis swings it to Liverich. Back to Mark. In front to Alberto. And it's going to be a corner for the Arrows, I believe. As Gary Allison might have hastily reacted that time. Nick, what do you think?
Well, Gary Allison is not as skillful with playing with his feet as Zoltan Toth, and that time he wanted to get the ball out of the dangerous area and got it too far out.
Also might have felt some of that pressure we talked about a moment ago as the Arrows control. And Nicky with a little bit of room. Nice ball to Jungle. Goal! Great passing by the Arrows as Nicky Megaludis, who took it from Alberto, fed Steve Jungle.
We see Nicky Megaludis high away, great pass, one touch to control the ball, touch number 2 to tuck it away. You notice the quickness of execution, receives it with the left foot, shoots it with the right foot.
The skillful feet of Mr. Steve Jungle right there, talking about touch.
That's right, quarter of a century. He's got the 25th goal in the 8th game.
But what a pass by LIU's Nicky Megaludis. Beautiful ball by Nick. And back come the Spirit. They're not about to lay down. 3-on-1. Shot wide. Rebound captured by the Arrows. And this is O'Hara, rather McBride. Same church, wrong pew. Andy McBride in front of the goal. Broken up. And Zoltan Toth, one of the Spirit players down. Now he's back up as Liverich with a little bit of room on the near side. And in midfield, the Arrows recapture Alberto, who looks completely recovered, Nick, from that groin injury.
Yes, he's moving well, but you know, he hasn't been able to train for about a week, so his fitness level is not what it normally would have been. So,
and as you mentioned that, Nick, he comes out and Hedgie comes in. Jungle, who is on the board, will keep that streak going of scoring at least once in every game this year. He is so slithery, slippery, skillful. Get all the adjectives out for him. Somebody told me once, yeah, but he doesn't play defense. And all Ted Williams could do was hit, right? Shot just wide.
But you know, that's not true, because some of those people are not watching. Maybe he doesn't put all of his time and energy into defense. Obviously, you know, it's better used at the other end. But yet, you know, he's used very frequently with man-down situations.
That's a whistle from Billy Maxwell. I think Liverich wants a penalty.
Well, that's a third foul on Nathan Sachs, number 18. Not once has he gone into the box.
What do you think, Nick? Should he have gone in that time or no?
Well, close. It's a judgment call. It's very, very close.
All right.
I would let him slide this time, but certainly he's got to pay the price if he continues to play that way.
The Spirit recapture, but it is Renato Chila running back, hustling back to break it up. And Sachs recaptures for the Spirit. That is Bill McNichol on the far side. Sachs with a good leg. Nice save. Zoltan Toth, who's looking more confident as this game goes on, keeps his team ahead by 2. It is the Arrows 6, the Spirit 4. 5:40 remaining in period number 3.
At that time, Zoltan did something that we don't see very often. He held the ball. Shots come from so close and so fast, you don't have a chance to hold it. You want to deflect it.
Long ball and a whistle. I believe against Valtuksha, the native of Yugoslavia who now lives in Belarus. Yeah, free kick, Pittsburgh. Sachs tries to carry him to a teammate. On goal, kicked away by one of the Arrows. Let's see who it was. Was that Dorico?
David Dorico, yep. Yes it was.
Nice play by David. And the Spirit back on the attack once again. This is Child with a back heel to no whistle. And Tuksha upfield. Tuksha 1 against 3. Nice ball that time to Toronocci, but it's saved by Allison.
Strong man Tuksha, you know, you cannot ride him off the ball. He's like a tank. When he gets in gear, he just goes.
And nice playing by the Arrows to save a possible score that time as Toth talks to one of the Spirit players about coming too close. 3-on-2. As
almost as a full child was looking to foul Zoltan.
McNichol, nice ball, nice save. Rebound, no good. Another rebound left. And 2 great efforts that time by Toth kept the Spirit from scoring. This is Dorico. Across the field to Tarnocci. Alex, the native of Hungary. And Gary Allison has it. Quick action, Nick.
Oh, that was super by Zoltan. He made 2 great saves, and the 3rd time he went down, but the shot was not on goal.
Mickey Cave on the far side gives to McKenzie, who tries to go back to Cave. Broken up by Strenisser, recaptured by the Spirit. And the Spirit have it once again. This is Molnar. Tibor, shot on goal, deflected off the boards. And the Spirit looking very sharp right now. Broken up by the Arrows, recaptured. And Strenisser, the man of the moment, recaptures for the Arrows. Tarnocci. And the Arrows up again. Try with a soft touch that time as Allison comes out and dumps Alex Tarnocci. The crowd doesn't like it. But Alex is down on the far side. And let's see it again.
Tarnocci running onto the ball. Now there's Gary Allison. You see that sweeping tackle, takes both of his legs out from under him. That's a poor foul there.
And while Alex is down, let's take this break from the action. We'll be back in just a moment.
Racing to the bottom? Not all the way. For Michelob Light? You're on.
Would good friends really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Where'd you ever learn to ski like that anyway? Houston.
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
Well, Alex Tarnocci right there is on his feet, seemingly okay. He'll come out for the moment, but I think Alex will go back in. There will be a 2-minute penalty charged to goalie Gary Allison.
So this is a great opportunity for New York to get another goal further ahead. 3:16 to go. They've really begun to dominate now. They answered the first goal by Telecki in the beginning of the 3rd quarter. They got the next 2. And here's a good chance to begin to put this game out of hand. But
this 2-goal lead, Nick, the 6-4 lead by the Arrows, is the widest margin we've had in the game tonight. That's how close it's been. As Strenisser goes to Alberto, back to Strenisser on the far side. Strenisser gives to Kitson, shot on goal, goal! Identical shot that Kitson scored on in the first period from almost the same distance, from almost the same angle, Nick.
That was even further out, a good setup. The ball comes so deep to Paul to the right side. Now watch this shot, low, far post. And again, Gary gets caught a little bit short.
Well, I think if I were Gary Allison, as we look at the score, Arrows leading by a score of 7-4. I think Gary Allison might be telling himself to take a little bit of a gander at that far post when Kitson has the ball. That's twice he's beaten him on that same angle.
Well, he's getting caught a little too deep on the goal line, in my opinion. He should have been out a step further, cut the angle down a little bit better.
All right. So the Spirit try to get back into things as Molnar plays the rebound. Shot on goal, knocked away by the 6'3" Toth. And when you get an agile athlete that stands 6'3", who's a goalie, you take away a lot of problems, Nick.
The goal is only 6'6" high.
In front of the Arrows net, somebody's going to get a Darryl Dawkins type guy to play goal one day.
Well, if he can move, if he has the other things, you know, size is not the only factor.
Kitson with room, goal! And the Arrows breaking it open right now as Paul Kitson with the hat trick tonight, just outrunning the Pittsburgh defense that time.
Well, that was number 4. Now watch this great speed. This is 4 for Paul Kitson. Beats Paul Toomey, comes by. Now watch, the defenders are all backing away. You got to come up and make a stand. I think goalkeepers prefer, and you've got to come out and slow that guy down. So Paul Kitson is on a rip. He now has 10 goals for the season, 4 for the night. He had 6 coming in here, got 4. Not a bad evening's work.
Not a bad evening, a hat trick plus one. And we've had 5 goals in this third period, and we've still got 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. So the Spirit just miss. I think it hit the side post. Kitson feeds himself nicely off the boards, but is broken up by Toomey.
See, now here's an interesting point, I think. Paul Toomey that time had the goalkeeper to play it back to, but they don't have the confidence in Gary Anderson's foot-playing skills that New York has in Zoltan.
All right, Toomey going up to Mickey Cave. This is Mickey at midfield. Gives off to Terlecki. And the room closes down, whistle. I thought I heard a whistle, maybe it's from the stands. Nope, play continues. Terlecki. Blocked by an Arrow leg.
But the Spirit have gone out of their game plan a bit. They've gotten into a running game with New York, and certainly falling down by 4 goals, you have to force the issue. So they've got to come out, they've got to play more attacking, they've got to commit themselves on offense, and you know what happens in defense at that time.
Well, Paul Kitson has shown that great speed. This is Molnar. And once again, the Arrows control. As Liberich to Jungle, just wide. Steve fouls it in, heads it in! Steve Jungle missed the first carom, hit a bouncing header into the net, and I tell you, Nick,
try until you do. He gets the third shot in. A good pass by Mark Liberich into space. Steve runs on a little bit wide. Now watch, the ball comes back, head ball, comes back off the boards again. Now look at the space that he squeezes it through.
Oh my goodness. That ball was about waist height, maybe chest height, on the bounce. And Steve, with, I was going to say manual dexterity, that time cranial dexterity, finds about 1.5 inches of room, and he makes it 9-4.
He threaded that needle for sure. What a great opportunity. So Mark Liberich made a nice pass, sent him into space, and then Steve did the rest. Kept on shooting until the ball found the back of the net.
What an athlete. And as they like to say in sports, the cream rising to the top, as the Arrows have totally taken control of this game in the second half. 5-goal lead for New York with 40 seconds remaining in period number 3. And it's all Arrows in half number 2.
But they're running very well. You see that transition from defense to attack. They're moving forward.
In front of the goal, another opportunity. Liberich takes it out wisely. He was off balance, didn't try to force it. Lets his team reset as Alberto loses to O'Hara. This is Paul Child to Sachs. Nathan Sachs, the native of South Africa. As the Arrows just hustling and getting good position on defense as the horn sounds. So the New York Arrows pouring it on. Lead at the end of 3 periods. The Arrows 9, the Spirit 4, and we'll be back right after this.
Wouldn't it be nice for do-it-yourself motorists if motor oil cans had a built-in funnel to eliminate spills and could be recapped for storage? Citgo all-season multi-grade motor oil comes in a new plastic container with an easy open, easy close screw-top lid and a built-in funnel that puts Citgo motor oil where it belongs, in your engine. Citgo, we've changed the way you change your oil.
Available at these car dealers: Riley Olds, Westfield, New Jersey; Serbo Pontiac, Parsippany, New Jersey; Bernard Cadby, Fairfield, New Jersey.
Bob Goldschall and Nick Zlatar back at the Pittsburgh Civic Center. We're going to show you that Steve Zungul sequence and watch the whole action and watch what we mean when we talk about finishing off a play.
Well, here's the head ball. Now, he doesn't get enough of Paul Toomey is holding on. Now, watch this. He only sees no more than the width of a ball, and he squeezes it through.
He is playing that ball off the boards, Nick, on a bounce at perhaps waist to chest height with, as you say, perhaps the width of a ball margin, and he squeezes it in.
And the important thing, Bob, is that he's moving at top speed. This is the key difference. You know, a lot of people can play when everything is walking or in slow motion. The faster you play, the more difficult it is. And this is where skill counts. American kids can begin to play, but there he is, Coach Popovich, I think, enjoying it a lot more with a 5-goal lead.
Okay, we'll be back with the start of the fourth period right after this message.
Come on, one more. No. The championship of the entire civilized world?
I'll pass.
And a Michelob Light?
I'll serve.
Would good friends really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light. And that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
I thought you were tired.
Nope, just thirsty.
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
The Spirit tried one shot on goal, and it was headed away by the Arrows. They will have, I believe, what is their first corner kick of the night, as the Arrows lead by a score of 9-4, just underway in the fourth and final period. In front of the goal, broken up by the Arrows. Zungul, who gives off to Gomez, back to Zungul with some room, no good.
Steve didn't have an angle to shoot at, so he played it off the glass, but no one trailing on the far side.
Nick, he has not only great quickness, but great speed. Some athletes have one of those two. He has both. Not to mention the skills. Not to mention all those skills. As the Arrows once again look to add to their advantage, they are not slowing down one iota in this game.
Well, you know, the things changes, everything changes so quickly here, so you cannot afford to sit back in a lead and run the clock. You've got to keep pushing coming at them.
Toth tries to clear the carom. He doesn't, but it was such a hard shot that the velocity of the ball off the boards did the job. And it is Omar Gomez. Chest trap by Billy Guzanas.
See, and for those who say that Zungul doesn't play defense, that time he got the ball inside his own penalty area.
Little Billy, who was Nick's halftime guest, one of many Hartwick players in the MISL. And I'd like to mention that Pittsburgh has changed the goalie. Chris Sobieski in the nets. We'll show you Chris in a moment, I'm sure, because the Arrows have been down there so many times. The goalie is getting quite a workout tonight. Arrows trying to get it out of their own zone as the Spirit press just a bit more than they have. They have to take some chances now.
The substitution, Bob, is not because Kowalski, there he is, there's the
Chris Sobieski.
It's not because the coach has given up on this game, but, you know, goalkeepers get shell-shocked, so he doesn't want Gary Allison's confidence.
Shot on goal that time. Looked like I was shot out of a cannon. Goes high. But look at the Arrows hustle back on defense. Broken up. A head trap that time. And Strenisser goes down along with Rob Bergthal, who's into the game for the first time. I'd like to remind you that immediately following tonight's Arrows game on Sports Channel, it's boxing from the Tropicana Hotel in Atlantic City, featuring Jersey City lightweight Edwin Virouette in a 10-round bout against Indiana's Norman Goines. Also on the card, undefeated junior middleweight Don King with 11 knockouts in 12 fights. He goes up against Rafael Rodriguez. So catch all the exciting action immediately following Arrows soccer tonight on Sports Channel. It's your box seat to New York sports at home. The score, the Arrows 9, the Spirit 4. We have 12 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the game. And just another quick reminder that the Arrows are back at home this Sunday against the Buffalo Stallions. And it looks, Nick, like they're going to be 5-1 on this road trip. That's exceptional.
Yes, let's not be a little premature, but I'm really looking forward to Sunday's game, as I think everybody should be, because Buffalo has had some exciting games, and they've blown a couple teams out. They beat Philadelphia 7-3. I think they beat the Jersey Rockets 9-3. So it'll be good to see them back and see how they match up against New York.
Okay, the Arrows with a few new players in. Valtuksha back in. Tries a give and go with Strenisser, as the Arrows playing it just a bit cozy right now, as they can afford to. Trying to make Pittsburgh commit themselves just a bit. Kind of like basketball's version of the semi-freeze.
Well, there's no need to go forward and take unnecessary risks. So what they're doing is keeping possession of the ball, but always looking to go forward. You notice?
Waiting for their moment.
That's right. They're always looking to strike. Give and goes, combination plays, shots.
Kitson, little chip off the board that time. And Strenisser, Gene on goal, saved by goalie Sobieski. The Arrows, Valtuksha with the strong legs to Kitson, who's got 4 goals, tries for 5, it goes high.
But an interesting, there we see the young man who's had a great evening tonight, along with the captain of the team, Steve Zungel, but Stan Terlicki has not been in this shift here, so that perhaps maybe the injuries are catching up, and maybe John Kowalski has decided to throw the towel in and say, hey, let's reserve our strength for the upcoming games, and we'll fight another day.
Nick, I'd like some of our younger viewers to watch the Arrows when they run back on defense. They don't jog back, they sprint back. And you can apply that to a number of different sports. There's Mr. Terlicki, who is the second leading point getter in the MISL, second to Mr. Zungel. Steve has, I believe, 3 more points tonight, 2 goals and an assist so far. Tarnocci, as what the Arrows are saying right now is, Pittsburgh, come on out and play us.
But Pittsburgh, I think, clearly is showing the fact that they just don't have the firepower. Graham Fife, one of their leading players, and a young man that's done, that did very well last year and the previous year in the Major Indoor Soccer League, just is coming off an injury, and although he is healthy enough to play, they don't want to bring him back too soon.
Well, it's a 44-game season. 22 at home, 22 on the road, and this is just game 8. So, with good reason, Nick, it's a long season. Penalty goes against Julie Hedgie, one of the 3 Hungarians on this team. So Hedgie will sit it out for 2. His team leads by a score of 9-4. We have 10 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. As John O'Hara, little box offense for the Spirit right there as the ball goes over the boards and into the seats.
Paul Child tried to play it first time to Billy McNichol on the far side of the penalty area. A little bit too high, and Billy couldn't control it, put it over for a goal kick.
When Toth backs up into that cage, Nick, he's got about 3 inches if he stands up straight. 6'3" Toth, and the crossbar is, as Nick pointed out earlier, 6 feet 6 inches from ground level. Sachs, rather Terlecki, boots one into the seats, and it will be Zoltan Toth once again. There is Terlecki, who's playing pretty well banged up tonight. The native of Poland with 26 points going into the game.
Well, he's very concerned about what's going on. You know, his parents were both university professors and members of the Solidarity Union.
Nice save by Toth. You saw him come out and cut down that angle and took one in the whiskers that time. John O'Hara. And look at the defense as they are playing good position defense, forming that box formation in front of the goal that is broken up by the Arrows. Recaptured by O'Hara, shot just wide. And the ball goes to Strenisser, who loses to the Spirit as they come back with the power play by the Spirit, broken up again. Pittsburgh's power play is successful 37% of the time. They're better than the Arrows in that department. Make it one more time. The Spirit bang one in for the first goal in period number 4.
There he is, Billy McNichol. He's done that so many times in the past. In fact, last year he got 10. So here we see Talecki getting a shot. Now he really discues a little bit. Tries to put it on goal, but Billy McNichol is there deep, and he tucks it away. So nobody is going to know whether or not Talecki, in fact, tried to put it in. But Billy McNichol last year scored 31 goals for the Hartford Hellions. And out of those 31 goals, 1/3, just about 10 of them, were from man advantage situations.
And that goal puts both teams back at full strength once again. So the Arrows going with Liverich, Tarnocci, Chia. And it is the Spirit who trail by 4 goals with 8:20 remaining in the game. And things can turn around awfully quickly in MISL competition. Shot by Toomey, broken up by the Arrows. And they go upfield to Tarnocci. Chest trap at the red line and given off to Terlecki. Stan to the far side to, is that Marco Leet in for the first time? I believe so. Shot on goal, but Toth is there. Sinking Rainbow that time.
Yeah, he got a lot of top spin on it, topped the ball, and the ball dipped.
Sure did. This is Machia. Tries for the carom, but broken up by Toomey.
Great idea. Juan Carlos almost had it there. And he, another new player, is coming into his own, playing with more confidence and showing his skills.
Liverich. As the Arrows once again press things, Chila and into the seats. There's more New York Islanders hockey coming your way on Sports Channel tomorrow night when the Stanley Cup champs take on the Detroit Red Wings at the Nassau Coliseum. Catch that action starting at 8 p.m. and don't forget to tune in Stan Fischler's Islander preview at 7:45 for live interviews and the latest hockey gossip around the NHL. Stan, the Rona Barrett of the hockey people. That's the Islanders against the Red Wings at 8. And Islanders preview at 7:45 tomorrow night, exclusively on Sports Channel. It's your box seat to New York sports at home. We are approaching the 7-minute mark remaining with the Arrows up by a score of 9-5. They broke open this game in the second half, if you joined us late, after a very close first half. But the third period was all Arrows. And here in the fourth, 1 goal scored by the Spirit brought them back to 9-5. That's how we stand. Chila. And it's Mark Liverich, who went down hard in the first half. But he's back playing again. And the Arrows send it back in as Paul Child loses for the moment.
Pretty important for Pittsburgh to get on the board here if they have any intentions of making a run at New York.
Child on the far side waits for teammates to get into better positioning. And once again, a little physical contact going on down there. They call it, I believe, against Pittsburgh. Let's see.
Yes, there was a foul against, yeah, that's right, Billy McNichol. Had his arms all over Billy Gazonis, and the referee said, no, white ball.
So Billy sends it to goalie Toth. Zoltan Toth has started and played the entire game. And Shep Messing has been on the bench tonight. As Val Tucha, who's doesn't look like he should be that quick, but he is. Spirit had trouble clearing. And on the far side, in front of the goal, dangerous pass that time, as the Arrows almost score again, but this time Pittsburgh has it.
Tanozzi almost got a chipper there.
Spirit trying to make it 9-6 with the time against them. 5:20 remaining in the game. In front of the goal, shot saved by Toth. Broken up by the Arrows once again. Good opportunity that time for Pittsburgh.
John O'Hara hasn't been lucky. He missed a breakaway.
Gomez almost had a breakaway, Nick, but he lost the handle as Jungle with a nifty move and some nice defensive play by O'Hara. Jungle again. Steve with 2 second-half goals tonight. Still Steve. Goes to teammate DeRico. David to Hedgie, shot on goal, or rather Tuksha. Rebound by Jungle. Tries to carom to a teammate. Steve hustling back.
I think Steve is looking for that hat trick. He wants that third one.
Spirit trying for their 6th goal. Do not get it. Zoltan Toth makes the save. Relatively easy one, as now Julie Hedgie comes into the game for the Arrows. Tries a give and go. They try for the carom. Rebound just off the foot of the Arrows that time. Here comes the Spirit. Steve back on defense that time. Toomey shot, broken up by Toth. Rebound! Controlled by the Spirit. Sent back in, trying for hands, and I think it's going to be handball.
Yes, a handball outside the penalty area. Not a very dangerous situation. New York will be allowed to form a wall. So the key is to put enough bodies to protect the near post. Don't let them get the easy shot. Make them pass it off and then pressure the ball.
All right, they form.
How'd you like to be in that wall, Bob?
No, thank you. And Jungle goes right into the wall. Do they have anything, Nick, like wall insurance? They try to go to the near wing, but the Arrows break it up. The Arrows lead it by a score of 9-5 with 3:45 remaining in the game as Tibor Molnar sends to the far side and Toth collides with one of the Spirits. No whistle. Now there's, what's this whistle? I think he's calling for a doctor. Yep.
Yes, he wants the trainer out there. This is a very good play by Zoltan. Look, Tibor Molnar lifts the ball. Zoltan comes flying out, one-hand punch. And the contact made after. Okay, contact is made after the ball is punched with a man running on. So certainly not an intentional foul, and Zoltan was the first guy to see.
I did not see which Pittsburgh player that was, Nick, and even as he's down, we can't pick up his number, but at first, Nick, I thought they collided with their heads, but on the replay, you can see that they didn't.
It looks like Sachs.
Nathan Sachs.
I think what happened after, you know, because he was coming to the ball, Zoltan was first to it. Then I think he had Zoltan. Yeah, we'll get to see it again. Here again, Tibor Molnar sees the man, lifts the ball. Now watch, Zoltan comes flying out, one hand, a good punch, gets it out of trouble. Now watch what happens after the punch.
There's no contact here where you thought there was. Now is where the contact occurs, right there. And
that's what it was. He hit his head when he fell down. He hit his head, I think, as he fell down.
All right, while we look at Sachs walking off, just like to remind our viewers that collegiate basketball returns to Sports Channel tomorrow night when Fordham University takes on Lou Carnesecca's Redmen at St. John's Alumni Hall. Catch all the exciting action starting at 11 p.m. Be going back for that game, Nick, along with ex-Knicks Phil Jackson, ex-Nets, for a little collegiate basketball. Right now it's MISL. And the Arrows lead by a score of 9-5. We've got 3.5 minutes remaining in the game. Direct kick Pittsburgh. Bad fake. Even I knew he was going to do that. In front of the goal, Toth. Zoltan, very big for a man who's 6'3", 190.
But he plays like a small man. He gets down, he covers the corners. We saw his mobility off the ball that time when he came out with that punch. Outstanding goalkeeper.
Steve Jungle, who's had 2 goals and an assist tonight, but forget those stats. He's just played outstanding. Does so many things that don't go in the stats.
And New York has really began to dominate here as the score has been obvious. You know, it seems Pittsburgh Spirit come out smoking at the beginning of each quarter. They scored at the beginning. The first one's to draw blood at the beginning of each quarter, but then they just die out.
Shot on goal, the rebound. And Jungle has his shot deflected and over the plexiglass. Here's Steve. Nick, I know I've said this before. Every time I look at him, I just think of Ili Nastasi. They don't look alike, really, but when you watch them run and you watch them walk, just something natural as far as their athletic ability is concerned. Broken up by the Spirit as Chris Sobieski in relief of Gary Allison. Kitson into the game for the Arrows. 2:25 remaining. Toth plays the rebound nicely and distributes to his wing.
That was Rob Bernthal who created that situation. Came down, played off the glass, nothing happening, but he's one of the Long Island kids that's now making a living playing professional soccer.
Native of France, who moved to Great Neck, led his team to state championships. Number 11, Rob Bernthal for Pittsburgh. Seen limited action tonight.
Oh, very well read by Luis Alberto.
Beautiful.
He just stepped up, almost intercepted it. Had he won the ball, he would have had a free run and possibly scored a second goal like he did the first one.
1:45 remaining in the game as Toomey controls for the Spirit. 9-5 Arrows. Shot on goal, broken up that time by Strenicer, I think. And the follow no good as the Spirit sending everybody in. Shot. Far side, Karam broken up by the Arrows. Off the boards once again, and once again the Spirit with 1:20 remaining.
Well, that sounded like cannon fire.
Shot goes over the board. So a goal kick for the Arrows as Nicky Megaludis comes into the game, number 5 for the Arrows. And Zoltan Toth, who has had a busy night, Nick.
He certainly has, and he's up there. You know, anytime you hold the opponent down to 5 goals, you've done well.
So the Arrows will win their 7th game of the season, barring 6 players collapsing on the turf at the same time. And they did it in the second half tonight with 5 consecutive goals. 1 minute and, I'll make it 1 minute remaining in the game now.
1 minute in the game. 1 minute.
As Alberto, who's played a lot of minutes tonight, along with Jungle and Strenicer and Gomez, Megaludis, Kitson.
Well, everyone has seen action, but I think the key of the player of this match was Paul Kitson, I would say, with 4 goals. Certainly an outstanding evening.
Spirit with 40 seconds remaining, trying to make it closer, and they have hustled.
Yes, they have. This is a team with pride. These 2 teams will meet several times before the season's over.
Leverage with room goal. Mark Leverage gets his first goal of the night, so he's on the board. And
never stop. Here we see Nicky Megaludis coming down, plays off a good ball, 2-on-1. Mark comes into your picture now, takes it down, tucks it away with his strong foot, the left foot. Past the goalkeeper to the far post, lifts it over him. and New York goes into double figures, 10-5 with 29 seconds to go.
And what a way to end the road trip, Nick. On an up note, on a win. And they come back to the Nassau Coliseum this Sunday. 2:05 p.m. start this Sunday, December 20th, when they face the Buffalo Stallions. So come see some great soccer. And with 10 seconds to go, Jungle tries to feed Liberich. Goes wide. 5 seconds to go. And this one is going to go into the books as a W. And it does. So the final score, the Arrows 10, the Spirit 5, as we look at Zoltan Toth. And we'll be back with more post-game activity right after this message.
Wouldn't it be nice for do-it-yourself motorists if motor oil cans had a built-in funnel to eliminate spills and could be recapped for storage? Citgo all-season multi-grade motor oil comes in a new plastic container with an easy open, easy close screw-top lid and a built-in funnel that puts Citgo motor oil where it belongs, in your engine. Citgo, we've changed the way you change your oil.
Distributed by Elmhurst Warehouse, Elmhurst, New York. Call 212-592-3733.
Well, the Arrows turn it on in the second half, and Nick, after a hotly contested first half, we said before the cream rose to the top tonight. The Arrows did it with some outstanding play.
Well, the first quarter especially, very, very low scoring, 1-1 at the end. 5 unanswered goals, 2 by Zungel, 2 by Kitson, 1 by Tuchsa. That put it out of reach. And then as the game went on, Pittsburgh just ran out of firepower.
A quick recap of that scoring tonight. The score was 1-1 at the end of the first period. Terlicki on the board first for Pittsburgh. Then Paul Kitson scored for the Arrows. Then in the second period, Pittsburgh went ahead by a score of 2-1 on a goal, the second goal by Terlicki. The Arrows came back to tie it at 2-0 on a goal by Gomez. Then Kitson got his second goal of 4 tonight to make it 3-2 Arrows. Alberto made it 4-2. Then Pittsburgh came back, Nick, if you'll recall, by Paul Child to make it 4-3. And it was Terlicki to tie the score early in the third period when the second highest scorer in the MISL scored to make it 4-4. But that was as close as Pittsburgh came tonight, because right after that, it was the Arrows with 5 unanswered goals. Tuchsa, Jungle, Kitson, and Jungle. The score was 9-4 after 3. In the fourth period, McNichol scored for Pittsburgh to make it 9-5. And to round out the scoring for the Arrows, Mark Liberich on the board for the first time tonight to make it 10-5. I thought an outstanding way to end a 6-game road trip.
Especially against a team that's in the number 2 position in your division. You can't do any better than that, because had Pittsburgh come back, then obviously both teams would have been in 6-2 and tied for first place. But now that difference is even bigger in the 1-loss column. So a big W. Every W is a big one, but this one I think was especially pleasing to the coach.
You know, Nick, the GM, Chris Shaw, had talked about first and second division, but in the Eastern Division, that's where all the strength is. Anyway, we'll be back with more post-game activity. No, we won't. In fact, we're going to stay right here. Just to remind you that once again, the final score, the Arrows 10, the Spirit 5. The executive producers for Sports Channel are John Tata and Larry Mealy. The coordinating producer is Brad Schreiber. Today's game was produced...
Chaps, the men's cologne by Ralph Lauren. Chaps, it's the West you feel inside of yourself.
From the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, it's New York Arrows indoor soccer. This afternoon, the Buffalo Stallions take on the New York Arrows. The New York Arrows are brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Buick dealers. For now, more than ever, if you price a Buick, you'll buy a Buick. Chemical Bank. The chemistry's just right at Chemical. Arby's, featuring the new delicious deli specialty sandwiches from Arby's roast beef restaurants. Betamax, featuring featuring a full line of video cassette recorders from Sony, the one and only. Ultra Seal, the ultimate in automotive protection product, sold nationally by new car dealers only. Skoal,